Welcome to episode 2 of Leading Out Loud. In this inspiring interview, Dr. Shandell Maxwell shares her leadership journey, the importance of wellness, community engagement, and the interconnectedness of human and animal health. Discover practical insights on authentic leadership, self-care, and creating impactful community programs.
Hello.
Welcome. So I want to introduce Dr. Shandell Maxwell to the second episode of Leading Out Loud. Thank you so much for offering your time to join me today.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. This
Of
is a
course.
treat.
Well, we'll see. Worst case, we'll trauma bond over it and it'll be something we laugh about 10 years later, but I think it'll be solid.
Yes.
I was thinking about our history together as I was preparing to connect with you today. And do you know how many years? Because I was trying to think, and I know for a fact it's over 10 because we commemorated that. Don't tell me we're nearing 20.
Oh, wow. It has to be 26 years. No. 16 years this year?
Maybe you might be right. Because I ended up somewhere around 15 or so. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So
15
it's
years
probably,
this year.
okay. So it's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
I do want to say, we've had the privilege of working together twice now and understanding that this series is on leadership, but, I want it to go where it needs to go, right? And really just talking about real people in business, in different working scenarios. I was thinking about the type of person that I perceive you to be. And throughout my length of time knowing you, you have been somebody that has continued to inspire me. And, we talk about leadership.
You're gonna make me cry. That's what we're gonna do.
How many minutes in are we? I figured I'd at least give you 5 of no tears and then go in. No. I am being sincere, and I know you know that. When we think about leadership, I think a lot of times people go to titles, but a leader is not necessarily based off a title. You can be a CEO and be horrible as a leader.
Exactly.
You can be a lower tier paraprofessional title, if you will, and be the true leader of that organization because of the value and inspiration you bring to the people around you. And that has been my experience of you, where, you look at friends' Facebook posts and it's like, oh, Bobby lost a tooth. Like, good, cool. That's great. And then I look at yours and it's like, oh, like I just changed, had this petition signed by 100,000 people that's going to change the lives of this community for now and forever moving forward. Like, it is inspirational. And I would say I feel like the little sister trying to keep up, but I recognize I can't. Like, all I can do is applaud and continue to remain inspired and continue to take action as you inspire me to do so. But I am in awe at the human being you are, Shandell.
Thank you. Thank you.
So sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you, but it was important that people know that, and people know that experience that I've had of you, because I'm sure there's many that haven't had the privilege to work closely with you. So with that said, I know, wipe away those tears, game face.
Let me say this. You have always seen me, and that speaks to who you are. From the beginning, you have always seen me. You see the true character of people, and you have a way of uplifting and bringing out what's in people. And you create the space and the coaching for people like me to be who I am authentically.
Yeah.
I'm a reflection of you. You're a reflection of me.
I love that. I would hug you, and I'm not even a hugger.
I know, virtual hug.
All right. So enough.
Yeah.
We're going to pull it together. With that said, it has, in all fairness, been a minute. Catch me up on, where are you focusing your time and energy today?
Yeah, that's such a great question and a great time to reflect because, we are all under a lot of pressure right now in the United States of America, and all forced to reflect on where we're at, who we are, what does our present and future look like, right? So me as a leader, and as being Shandell, I have always looked ahead about 10 years. And thought, how can I support what the world will look like and the world around me in the next 10 years? What skills can I build up or incorporate to support not only my family and myself, but society? And those tools that I have built are helping to sustain me right now, understanding who I am, right? Understanding how I can support not only the community, but also businesses has helped. But where I am centering myself is in wellness, because right now, wellness and care, right now, people need to know that they are cared for and ways to take care of themselves. Old tools aren't working anymore. Dare I say, just going to church, doing the routines, just going to the gym, to some degree have become performative for folks. People are looking for something deeper. And so I'm being an example of what it looks to navigate through this mess of a world we live in right now, while also honoring a commitment to myself to care for myself. And so for me, that looks like doing my energy healing, meditating, double dutching with my community sisters from, across counties, and just having fun, laughing, and having those conversations about medical, like how are we taking care of our bodies? Who has, the best resources for mental health, right? What has been your experiences, those conversations? So that's where my journey has led me to as of today. It's focusing on wellness and care of community.
I want to interject there. You bring up a lot of great points. And I think I've had a similar experience, but maybe didn't know how to articulate it. And I think you've done a really good job of doing that, of kind of the shift in climate that we're all experiencing. And maybe we don't even realize that. And I think, to your point, it is almost digging deeper of the everyday check the box activities that we've always done and have done well for us for decades, maybe our whole life, are no longer quite hitting that mark with respect to overall well-being, if you will. For some that know me very well, as of late, I've gone through some personal things that have been a little bit trying and had to also really dig in. And I can say today, I am probably more balanced and good, in a good place, than I have been in many, 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 many years. And a lot of that is attributed to finding meditation, finding affirmations, Pilates, moving, trying something different. I kind of jokingly call that my church because it helps me stay grounded. I want to point out, when we kind of start to correlate this back to being an employee or a leader in a place of business, what I find is sometimes employees view their current state as an obligation of the leader or business to make them feel better. And though they are in charge of the cultural climate within that place of business, I believe the employee has to also be an advocate for themselves and find those things outside of business, outside of someone else. You can't make me happy.
Right.
You can help, you can guide me, and you do make me happy, by the way. But
Right.
you can't make everyone happy, right? So how do you dig in and go and find that? So if you don't mind, tell me, I know that I want to say maybe 5 years back or so, you had founded the Burden Maxwell Coaching Institute.
Yes.
And then more recently, there was Shioma
Correct.
Healing Group. And I want to know everything about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So, you hit it right on the head. Like there's an evolution internally that has to happen as an employee and as a person where you look inward. So with Burden Maxwell was a call to action specifically for the veterinary field when COVID hit. So when COVID hit in 2020, I decided at that point, let me launch Burden Maxwell Coaching Institute to support veterinarian professionals through coaching to help them transition to the next career or field in veterinary medicine, a specialty maybe that they wanted to explore because the industry was so shaken. Right? We weren't ready for an influx of new pet owners. And so with that change, with Bird and Maxwell, I was able to support several animal hospitals, private, some, corporate owned, to get through that change from going to, predictable clients to now an influx of clients and trying to manage that. And then to how do we recover and get to a new normal. So since the industry has changed a bit, right, since COVID, I did a lot of talking at different events and conferences about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and emphasizing the need to engage these new pet owners because at some point they would be the sustained pet owners, maybe not all of them.
Yeah.
Then we have new generation of pet owners because their children are then introduced to being pet owners. And so I really wanted the veterinary industry to capture that opportunity. From that, I said, I've met a lot of veterinary professionals who were struggling emotionally, and I really wanted to be there for them, provide them with the support. And through that desire came Shioma. Shioma was a wellness initiative that I had during COVID as well. And so, I'm a very spiritual person. So Shioma was a word that came to me during one of my prayers. And I was like, what does Shioma mean? Like, what is that? And so when I looked it up, I saw that it meant God is good. And simultaneously, I actually did a genealogy background for my African ancestry and found that my maternal side stems from the Igbo tribe. And so in Igbo, Shioma means God is good.
Okay.
And so I held on to that and I said, okay,
Yeah.
when I have time to create a wellness group, it will be called Shioma. And my sisters and I, over the last year, we came together. They're both nurses. One is an RN with an emphasis in public health and education. And the other is a licensed vocational nurse, an LVN, who specializes in wound care. And so we have linked up to provide not only nurse expertise, but also holistic care through the energy healing that I.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We're, bringing everything together. And it's nothing we haven't been doing already within our own family group and with friends.
Yeah.
We're opening it up to community because right now, community needs access to care
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Right.
advocacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have plans or do you have a brick and mortar for that healing center today, or is that to come?
That is to come. So
Okay.
we are mobile
Yeah.
now. We're mobile. And we are doing pop-ups and events, community events. But yeah, we're meeting people where they're at. So I'll go to people's homes or parks to do our sessions, energy sessions. And a lot of times it's consulting and it not only tapping in what's going on with them inward, but also helping them release so that they can focus on taking care of themselves and their families and doing their jobs.
Yeah. Well, as a reminder, I'm in Austin, Texas. My house can fit you and your sisters if, for a weekend, we need a
Yeah,
cleansing.
a cleansing. Uh-huh.
So bring a lot of sage.
Yes, we'll do a retreat.
Yes,
Yes.
that would be amazing. All right. Could you kind of walk me through your leadership journey, just at a high level, where you started, and of course we know where you are today and the impact that you have on, even people outside of your own organization, your community involvement. But just I'm thinking more or less a novice leader that's just starting out and doesn't see a path yet for themselves. What did it look like for you?
Yeah. You said high level. Okay, let me see.
Well, or we can go, we can go wherever you want to take us.
Yeah, I was just talking to my mom yesterday. And my mom she's the beacon in my life. And she was telling me, she was like, Shandell, you've been the same person you've been since you were younger. When people see you, they're seeing you, young Shandell. So my leadership really started when I was 10 years old and understanding quickly how the systems of this world worked. I couldn't fully verbalize it, but I had enough questions. And so I learned very quickly that I can create the world that I want to see if I believe. I can heal myself if I believe. And so through that lens, I've carried that lens throughout my whole life. So my leadership evolved from that belief in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I grew up in church. My grandmother was a pastor. She had pastored her own church. She taught me about leadership and leading people.
Mm-hmm.
In church, I was the secretary, and so she taught me a little bit about, office management.
Mm-hmm.
But I also learned how intimate it is to be a leader of people and how you can impact people's lives. And so I always take that very serious and how I'm impacting people's lives through my leadership. And so I strive to live authentically in who I am, understanding my faults, my strengths, and whatnot. And then my mom. My mom has been a public servant.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up and watching her leadership evolve also helped with my identity as a leader. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that I'm a transformational leader. So I'm responsible on how that transformation may occur
Mm-hmm.
based on where I'm at and where I'm at, right? I'm a change agent. And so all that to say for newer leaders, really take a look at who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Examine your values, question your values and where those values came from. And
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah,
And then lead from that. Lead from your values, not your title.
absolutely. Absolutely. Your extensive work in both animal health and community engagement, is there an opportunity for cohesion that you see with your unique lens?
Yes. And it's to me it's an opportunity that we can't afford to miss. We
Okay.
can't afford to miss it. Like a lot of diseases are transferable to humans, right? And so when I think about all the new pet owners that have, come into animal hospitals and getting familiar with it, what it means to take care of an animal, I always think they're missing like some of these diseases are transferable and can impact themselves and their families. And
Mm-hmm.
so there needs to be more education around zoologic diseases so that pet owners are more aware, like toxoplasmosis, like they need to know these things so that they can take care of themselves. Because when they show up in a human hospital
Right.
with kennel cough,
And it is distinct.
right, right. That way they can have that conversation with their provider and say it might be this because Fluffy has been coughing, right?
And licks my face every night.
Exactly. Or the, ringworms. Like
Yes.
we need to
Oh,
have those conversations. So yes, I'm at this intersection where I want to bridge the conversations around human health
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and animal health
Mm-hmm.
and environmental health. And really those elements are who I am. I care deeply about all of them because they
Yeah.
impact people, they impact our planet, they impact animals. And so, yes, I'm a very humane person. So being able to bridge those three and
Mm-hmm.
also encourage the industry, the veterinary industry, public health industry to do the same is the mission that I'm on right now.
Do you think there is a lack of education, or is it because with the COVID surge, we entered the realm of a lot more new pet owners that had maybe never owned pets? And so there wasn't the homework done. It was just, oh my God, this dog is so cute.
Yeah, exactly. For people who were home, animals became like a way of keeping peace, helping the mental health,
Yeah.
right? And for a lot of our younger generations, they're not having kids.
Right.
They have animals,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like buying a car. How many times have you bought a car? Did you go through the manual? Did you read the manual to see, okay, this is how everything works? No, we jump in the
Wait,
car.
there's a manual?
There's a manual. It's digital now, but it's like, yeah, people, we are reactive in that way. And so there's some who will do the research, some who won't and think about it later. And so I think as veterinary professionals and public health professionals, it is our responsibility to educate new pet owners in this example about what it means to take care of their animal, whether it's a dog, cat, or a rabbit, right?
Yeah.
Educating them on what to expect, as opposed to, is this animal going to increase my average transaction? Is this client going to be a long-term client?
Right. Yeah, yeah. Where do you see, I think I heard you say, but I want to be clear, where does the education need to take place? So, what I think I heard you say is from all sectors that we need to contribute in a meaningful way to educate the public. But is it more weighted towards one, like, is it the veterinarian's job to educate the public coming in, or is it the CDC who should be educating the public or helping? What does it look like?
Yeah, across the board, across the board. But I think, we're all in that history lesson right now where we're learning that we can't really depend on government. We've known that before, but we can't really depend on government funded institutions to educate us fully.
Hmm.
So it's going to take a across the board initiative from veterinarian professionals to advocates to go into community and areas where it's hard to reach.
Hmm.
I'm frequently in South LA with the community work that I do, and I see dogs roaming up and down the street. I mean, like huskies. Like, why are there huskies? Okay,
There's no
right?
data pool here.
Right? Right. But, people deserve and can
Yeah,
have animals.
yeah.
So it's going to take folks with the passion to educate. And then we need foundations and funding to support the continual education. And it comes from within us. We have to
Hmm.
do it. And then if there are other organizations, institutions that can support through funding.
What was so ironic, given what you've said, is veterinary medicine originated from human medicine when medical doctors were starting to come across more and more zoonotic diseases, and they began to place value on getting a better understanding of the animal side of healthcare to effectively treat humans, the public health. And so lo and behold, more and more research began focused just on the veterinary side, and now we have veterinary medicine. So I do see what you're talking about with respect to how interconnected it is. And it is a great point that I think that is an underserved opportunity to re-educate or focus on educating the new pet owners of
Yeah,
today, if you will. Right.
absolutely.
Looking back at your career, what moment most shaped the direction of your own career trajectory, if you will?
Meeting you.
Oh, stop. You don't, I'm not, just so you, this isn't paid. Just,
This is paid.
there's no like gratuity at the end.
No, really. Yes. Yes. Before you, I'm so serious. I'm not even lying. I'm so serious. So, everyone who has met you, I know can relate and who has worked with you. Before we met, I had a hard time really, I'm going to say, moving up in my career. Um, I'm a black woman, and so in society, it's harder to get those titles, right? And I had so many skills, and you saw them. You saw me for me. You sat across the table and interviewed me, and for the first time, I saw myself being seen.
You're giving me goosebumps.
It's the truth. I said, if I want to work with her, like, I really hope I get this job because I'm going to learn something from her. You taught me about vulnerability. You taught me that as a woman, what is possible because of what you had accomplished.
Okay, so you're trying to make me cry. Is that we're flipping the script? We're doing an Uno reverse right now?
Exactly. Getting you back. But you did. You did. No. And so I don't even remember what the question was. But you were a pivotal moment meeting you, and how I looked at what does leadership look like for Shandell. What can I learn from Bridget? You have been that bridge. You stand behind your name. You are a bridge for so many and
Mhm.
for yourself. You have taken time to teach me. You have challenged me. You have called me out. You have lifted me up, right? You have given me kudos in times where you caught me catching on to something. You've been that cheerleader in my life. And so it's people like you that help mold people like me, leaders like me, right? Who I had innately in me, but you just came and created a whole nother opportunity for me to refine who I am, who I am as a leader over the past decade and a half.
Amazing. Well, and in all fairness, iron sharpens iron. So I've equally evolved and elevated because of you and your impact on my decisions and, again, my life's trajectory. And so thank you for your kind words. I do. I mean, I sincerely appreciate that. And I think it's nice to hear. I want to say unsolicited, but I asked the question. I didn't know you were going to say, but it is nice to hear because I will say, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well, as a leader, sometimes it's lonely. All you're sometimes experiencing are the fires, the complaints, the issues, the problem, the negative. And it is a little more rare that a direct report or a peer comes to you and actually applauds your effort, like that you're seen. And so just as it touched you to be seen by me, equally, I feel that because it helps me know that I'm on the right path, that I am positively impacting at least some people, which I think for both of us is ultimately important. And I want to say, again, tying it back up to the leadership piece, for maybe thinking of a novice leader out there that's listening to this, in the beginning, as you're learning to navigate, I think that a lot of time there's a little bit of posturing that you almost feel protective of the role, that you feel like you have to emulate a certain personality and even to a degree hold people at arm's distance that could be a threat. And I was probably the same way early on when I didn't have a mentor and I wasn't, as aware as I am today. And I think with time and with mistakes and all the things in between, we become more seasoned, we become more comfortable in our own skin and authentic. And I do think that's when you look and you should, in your position, try to elevate others around you that want it and that deserve it. And I think that today, that is still a piece that I constantly see as lacking.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that sense of camaraderie and wanting to support the advancement of others cannot be taught in a classroom. That's not in our business degrees. Mm-hmm. Leadership programs, I did my master's in leadership and management and a master's in leadership and change. And still, that's something that you have to want to do. It's intrinsic. It comes from within and empathy and recognizing that in order for me to evolve, the person next to me also has to evolve. Mm-hmm. And so what can I do to support that next person so that we can all move forward? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Personally, and some may disagree, I am of the opinion that as a leader, if I've done a good job, any of my direct reports could replace me. And that means I've not only protected the organization that I'm a part of, but also done right by my team in that I am helping them elevate, if that's even their desire. If it's not, then you should be supporting them in other ways. But again, it goes back to almost like a selflessness in leadership, and I get it, there's a little bit of that fear, that protection of like, well, I don't want them to be so good there. But I view it as, well, if they're so good that they can replace me, so be it. It just means that my time here is done and I need to move on somewhere else. But that's hard. That's hard to look in the mirror and be okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an ego. That's an ego move because I always look at folks around me and say, what can I learn from them? Right? What can I incorporate in my toolbox that they have that I'm missing? Right? And that's another way I've led my life is learning from others, constantly curious.
Yes.
And being okay to say, you know what, you do this better.
Yes.
You take it on and let me watch you do it so I can learn how to do it as well. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
And then coaching up. So I do a lot of coaching up
Mm-hmm.
Some executives didn't want it to be known that I was consulting them,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
right? Um, but through those experiences, I learned that my ideas, my perspective, my analysis mattered, right? And so, that was a confidence that I carried with me that I can now outwardly share, right, through Bird and Maxwell Coaching Institute
Mm-hmm.
and through other organizations I've worked for, using the skills that I've learned to help organizations thrive, to help them survive through times like this. I do want to add that with the community work that I do in wellness, the community work in wellness, like Double Dutch, the Double Dutch group, I do want to add that leadership showed up in a different way. I did not realize when I started a Double Dutch sub club in
Mm-hmm.
Riverside in Anaheim that started with 5 people, my mom and sister included.
Mm-hmm.
It transformed to upward to 20 women in about a year and a half. And now it has transformed to two separate groups where leadership, I was able to transfer over, myself as a captain to
Mm-hmm.
other ladies to become captains and
Mm-hmm.
practice their leadership,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was clunky. It wasn't smooth. In a business, there's HR and everybody's involved, and that transition looks clean enough, right, on
Sure.
paper.
Yeah.
In community, you have raw emotions. You
Yeah.
have people who want to see themselves as leader and practice leadership. And I had to learn that and create space for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the outcome in that alignment is that there are now two double Dutch groups,
Mm-hmm.
and women can jump in either one. But the whole purpose is for wellness and having fun, because there's research that shows that when women come together and have fun, it extends their lives.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I saw an article. I wish I would have kept it. I didn't know we were going to go there, but I saw if you vent to your girlfriend for like 10 minutes a week, it increases your lifespan by years
It's all right. Do it.
for like 10 minutes. And then you move on. And you find that zen, you get recentered and you dive back in,
Right.
right? You need that balance.
Thank you.
All right. What advice would you give to a newer or more novice leader today with the experience that you have?
Yeah. So stay curious, understand your inner values and where those values come from. Be ready for change and practice wellness. Practice wellness, because you are then inspiring someone else to take care of themselves too.
Yeah. That hits me hard when you say that. Having been in some, certain roles that were high stress, what have you, high value, what I learned the hard way is, of course, you have to delegate. You can't do everything, but talking about wellness, talking about caring for yourself and making the time, and just speaking for me personally, as you know, I've been a single mother for a very, very, very long time. Most of my son's life, in fact, who's now 18.
Yeah.
I know.
So cool.
Clock out, job is done. No, I'm joking. It's never done. Um, but I always had what I call mom guilt because I felt like if I'm not working and I'm not focusing on my son, am I being selfish? And in hindsight, I would argue absolutely not. You are being, again, mindful. You are being an advocate. You have to have that full cup to show up as your best self for others, including your work, your peers, your friends, and your children,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I take as a single mom to, and I say single mom lightly because the village that I have around me
Sure.
is very helpful with my daughter's upbringing. But I teach her. So she goes with me to community events, to speaking events. She actually speaks at some of these events, or she'll catch something that I missed and she'll be like, "Can I add something to that?" And she'll interject and add the thing that I forgot. But I expose her so that she understands that there's a balance. So we'll do wellness together too, and we'll have fun, and we'll do the homework, and we'll do all the things, and we'll be quiet too. We'll
Mm-hmm.
read. We'll take time to read. So I'm teaching her now, like, there's a balance. But this world, this living in this world is hard,
Yeah.
especially in the United States. It's a hustle. Unless you want to change your life and move out of the country and do something different, that resiliency has to be built early.
Hmm.
And I would say that's a way that for myself, I help myself feel better and how active I am by including her so that she can see, it takes a lot to survive this world.
When I can attest, she is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, I'm almost scared of this little girl because of how powerful she is. Once again, I will be there applauding her journey because I am convinced she will run this world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And good.
Yes.
I will be the first to sign the petition
Right?
for that
Yes.
to happen. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
have done an amazing job, and you
Likewise.
have been an amazing colleague and peer and friend. And I thank you for the impact you unknowingly have had on my life, as well as I'm sure the life of many others. And I appreciate your time joining me today and sitting down for this conversation. And hopefully it wasn't too painful.
No, no, this is great. This is right on time. I needed time to reflect. And so this is a part of it's my mommy weekend. So this is the time where I would have been reflecting and thinking about all the questions that you've asked me. Like, what am I doing? How am I? So thank you. Thank you for this invitation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Leading Out Loud. As you just heard, Dr. Maxwell's insights offer valuable lessons on redefining leadership in today's world. By prioritizing wellness, community engagement, and self-advocacy, leaders can create environments that inspire and uplift those around them. These principles are not only essential for personal growth, but also for fostering a culture of resilience and support within organizations. As we continue to navigate the complexities of our professional lives, let's remember that leadership is about connection, care, and commitment to the collective good.